Welcome back to Creating a Board Game episode number 2.
And this time we're gonna go over all the ideas you guys gave us and the ideas we have.
Let's go! So we have a huge whiteboard where we're gonna write down all the ideas, what we wanna create. And as we talked before, we wanna create these games together with you.
We're gonna make more than one?
Yeah.
Million
games.
Million! Let's start with the first one.
You have written down all the ideas that you got from
yes, from you guys.
Viewers. So it's now time to listen to your ideas.
First of all, people do enjoy storyboard games. Do you enjoy storyboard games?
Really enjoy storyboard games. It's one of my favorite genre. Pretty hard to create a good story.
I think it's even harder to write a good story that you try to involve people into. Just writing story is fine, but players want to be involved in the game. Where do you give them the choices? And what choices do you give them?
But story games, that's something that we could do for sure, so we're writing it down.
Okay. Next suggestion was quick and easy setup or rules. Just something you can put down on the table and just go, you know? Not what's the worst setup game you've played? Terraforming Mars?
Eldritch has a lot of cards,
yeah,
and Nemesis is pretty hard. But it's the big ones usually.
Yeah. Well, so basically not a big game. They mentioned The Crew is a good example.
Yeah, you just pull everything out of the box
Yeah.
and it's good to go.
Yeah. It should be a small box game that feels big. Again, I guess Crew is a good option. Tiny epic series, tiny small boxes, but there's a lot of game in there, and some of them feel just as complex and varied as, you know, big Euro games. So something small, but it feels big. Next thing is very few words and image heavy. I don't think you can do a story game without words, right? Otherwise, the players have to create their own story and you don't know what's gonna happen. So
Could
that's
like
the thing.
Alice is Messing be a story game? It's a more role-play game,
It's a
right?
more role-playing game. Actually, yeah, that's like a good middle ground. It pretty much so has no text, right? So more images because some people have problems with a lot of text, or just people don't want to do a lot of text. Another thing is a gap in the market. There was another suggestion to research what is not there or what games are not oversaturated. For example, I don't think we're gonna do a roll and write, right? Right?
I really love roll and write games.
I do too.
But I agree that there's a lot of them right now.
Unless we can, you know, put a super unique spin on it, I don't think we should do those. But yeah, do some research and see what's missing. Another suggestion is doing prototyping on Tabletop Simulator. That's something we will probably discuss next video, where we'll actually create our prototype and discuss the prototype that we will create, and that will come up there. That's pretty much so all the things that you guys mentioned in the comments. If I missed something, just, you know, comment again.
We will take all of this into account. There's a lot of whiteboard left right here for our thoughts and all the other processes. So today is all about finding out, hey, what we really want to make.
Yeah.
So next time we can start making it.
Yes, exactly.
We are here in our brainstorm room box.
Brainstorm corner.
Brainstorm corner, let's call it that.
I am your host Janis, and this is my co-host Janis.
Hello.
Or am I your co-host?
Yeah, still nothing has changed from, you know, the intro that we did.
Oh yeah.
Here we are just to talk about ideas that we have, that you had, to make this board game.
I mean, we reviewed a ton of games, right?
Yeah.
So
It should be easy. Maybe Nemesis, alright? We could do like a quick Nemesis.
yeah, let's do.
Jokes aside, one thing I really like about Nemesis is that it's a cooperative game,
Yeah.
but you have the choice to betray somebody. Free cooperation where you can choose to, you know, cooperate. Maybe it's a small game where we could play around this principle.
Okay, like semi-co-op thing.
Semi-co-op thing, yeah.
Okay. I love deck building games. Since Dominion came out, I mean, I loved board games even more than I did before Dominion came out.
So you probably know what deck builder is, but just in case.
Yeah, so deck building games usually are where people start out with a small deck, and during the game, in different ways, you add cards to your deck, making your deck stronger, more versatile, better.
We before discussed this idea of like a fog of war system.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So where do you stand on that? Would you...
Yeah, I do enjoy it, but I don't think we can squeeze it into a small game. Send one of your guys, settlement of the enemy or the other player, and then you see what's there. But once he or she is killed, then again fog of war sets in, and you don't know how the settlement has changed. That's what it looked like when you saw it, but now it has changed. Janis wants to, and I agree, I think that's a fantastic idea, implement it into a board game.
If it's like a small card game, right? So it could be like a deck, and from time to time you can send a scout and look however many cards your scout can look at. And I think we could make it like a small concept. You know, it's not going to be like a huge military game, but it could be a deck building game where you build your city, right? Other people build their decks and you can send a scout and then check what they have built.
Send in your guys and they already have tanks and you have only bows. So what we have right now is, let me just read the board. What's the genre of the game? It's a semi-co-op deck builder with Fog of War. How does that sound? One more thing I'd like to add into our game is a story deck, but not just a story deck, not like an event deck where you just pull out a card and it says, now the sector 5 is on fire, run, run, run. And you just mark down sector 5 is on fire. But something along the lines of King's Dilemma and Fallout the board game. From time to time you add more events into that deck and you don't know what and when they're going to come up because you can shuffle them each time. So there is already a story deck, but you would add things into it based upon your actions and decisions.
All right.
Well, I have one last thing, but that's very generic and I know, but I do like worker placements. You have your people and you can send them to train into something. You can be a scout or you can use it as a scout. And he can be, I don't know, an adventurer that you send on a quest that adds the stories to your story deck.
I feel like there are kind of two deck builders. One is, for example, Eon's End, which is that you have a store that really doesn't change. And I don't feel like I like those much. A game that I really enjoy is, for example, Harry Potter Battle of Hogwarts, where there is like a store and all the time you have different cards.
You buy one and one comes up.
A lot more satisfying.
I do like that as well. For another reason, it's really easy to set up. Because, for example, Eon's End or Dominion, okay, I have to pick this pile of cards, this pile, find this pile of cards, find. There you just have this whole deck that is the market, shuffle it up, place it down, let's go. So that's all our ideas. And we have the ideas that people mentioned. What do we want to implement from that here?
Story game would go together with a story deck, right? It's not going to be probably huge story because we're not gonna be good writers at all. I mean,
we're not good writers yet.
Small box. When I look at deck building and worker placement, I can't imagine it being a small box.
But that would be cool if it would be.
We should strive for it.
Yeah, I guess we actually discussed together that this would be a smaller one. Right? So kind of small box, small to mid box. Feels like a big game. I think that we got that covered.
It already feels like a big game.
One thing we haven't touched upon is the theme. So right now it feels like it would be a small civilization game, fantasy civilization game, or a sci-fi, or just something crazy entirely else. To summarize, we are making a prototype next time for a semi-co-op deck builder with Fog of War, story deck, and worker placement. Obviously that's too much.
Probably we'll discard at least half of it. But the only way to know what really works is to test it out. So next time we're gonna sit down and try to make a functional prototype. So each of us is gonna have like
we're gonna have our own pitch, and then we're gonna sit down and create it and present it to each other maybe by the end of the next video.
We hope we can do is have like a printable version to give you guys so you can print it out and try it out as well. And also, of course, add all the comments and everything. Tell us what themes you like. Tell us about maybe the mechanisms that you would like, because we just mentioned the main ones that we have, but there's a bunch of them, so let us know about that. So mechanisms and themes, go. That's it, let's get back to the studio.
And summarize this.
Yeah, that was our brainstorm with all the ideas, and now we're ready to get to prototyping, right?
Yes, next time we'll try to put all these ideas that we came up with into a single prototype while trying to follow the suggestions and ideas you guys had. Join us next time to see how it goes.
A really good brainstorm we had, right?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Fantastic. Not a math style, but fantastic.
Yeah, well, you had some ideas, but all my ideas, man. Woo!
Right to the trash.
Well, at least these guys have fantastic ideas.
That is true.
They're saving us.
And we wanted to say also thank you.
Yeah.
It really helps us to just have a direction, which is great.